Good morning and welcome to a Disney at home vlog. I am wearing my Main Street outfit, and today we are going to be trying to make some iconic Disney treats here at home. So let's go see what we can do. The first thing that we are going to do is the first step to one of the most iconic treats at Disney, and that is the Mickey Premium Ice Cream Bar. And I'm gonna do a little bit of a semi-homemade version, and I've got my big tub of ice cream that I had gotten from Sam's Club. And we're just going to, it's been sitting for a few minutes. This one. It's been sitting for a few minutes to get a little bit softer. And we are going to fill these. This is a larger than normal cupcake tin. I don't know exactly what size it is, but slightly bigger. And then that's going to be for the main part. And for the ears, we have this mini cupcake tin. So we're going to do 2 of these for every one of these. And we're just going to put some ice cream in each one. And then we're going to freeze that. So that's the first step. For the large one, I'm going to do a good size scoop for each of the main pieces. And I'm using a nut cup just to kind of make sure it's in there. We're just going to flatten it down as best we can. For the little guys, I'm going to use a melon baller and just put a melon baller size scoop, and we need 12 of these. I'm just going to take the same nut cup, and for the ears, I think I want to fill it up all the way to the top, so some of these just need some more ice cream to flatten it in. I think that the metal piece, once you get them into the cups, you just want to place these back into the freezer. So I'm gonna go put them in the freezer right now. Some of the other foods that I want to make are in like the spring roll wraps. So I don't have spring roll wraps because I didn't plan this that far ahead of time. So I am going to make some spring roll wraps, and then we are going to use it for a couple of different dishes. For this recipe, for the spring roll, you just need 1 cup of flour, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then you just want to mix that up. Once you get it incorporated, you just want to add 1 1/4 cups of water. You want to mix that until there are no more lumps and it is a watery consistency. If you need to add more water to make it thinner, then you can do so. Or if you need more flour to make it thicker, you just want it to be able to spread out on a nonstick pan so that it spreads out and becomes a thin crepe-like thickness. We are going to put the temperature on low and just let it slightly warm up. Once it is warmed, we are going to want to lift the pan as we put the batter in it so that it has time to spread and to become evenly coated before it cooks through. So the pan is now warm to the touch. So we are going to put a couple of tablespoons of the batter in and spread it out just like you would a crepe. Once you get it covering all areas of the pan, evenly coating, you can place it back down and let it come through to a solid consistency. I believe it indicated a few minutes per each side. As it cooks, you will see that it goes from a glossy to more of a matte-like finish, and it almost starts to look as if it's getting clear in the middle. Not quite sure. Maybe just like with crepes, the first one never turns out. Okay, so in the recipe that I got this from, it said if you find that it's sticking, you should use some oil. So what I'm gonna do is I put some oil in here. I have it on low heat. I got this 1/4 cup out, and I'm just gonna fill it about halfway, maybe slightly less. And I'm just going to put that on the pan and slightly spread it out. So these will not be a uniform size, but I should be able to get it out much easier if it's not all the way to the side. And so I believe it should only take a couple minutes per side. Uh-oh. So that one may have been a little thin in the middle, or I didn't cook it through enough. Okay. I got some out of it. We lost a couple. And it's a very interesting texture. It's very smooth and pliable. So I'm hoping that it works really well for what I'm going to use it for. I would highly suggest, though, just buying the wrappers, the spring roll wrappers, because they're very delicate in the pan when they're hot, and it's a little bit more work to do. But if you don't mind the extra work, I had all the ingredients that I needed. It wasn't too difficult once I got the hang of it, but this was my first time making anything like that. Since it is lunchtime, I'm gonna go ahead and do the first thing that we're gonna use those wrappers for, and that is to try and make the Disney's mac and cheese spring rolls. I am gonna add bacon to it, and I'm just going to make it with what I have here at home. So just the regular blend of cheese and some milk and butter and salt and pepper and bacon. I've got the bacon in the air fryer at 400 for about 10 minutes. And right now I'm just putting in some macaroni noodles. We're gonna turn the pan that the noodles were in on low. We are going to melt a couple of tablespoons of butter. We're also gonna add a splash of milk. Once the butter is melted, we're gonna add in the cheese. I am gonna take this opportunity to add some salt and pepper. And then we can see if we need to add a little bit something else. And then after we get it to a nice consistency, we add in the noodles. And then we break in some of the bacon. Okay, once you get it to the consistency that you like, we are going to start filling the wrappers. We're just gonna take a scoop, and it seems to be breaking open, so it's not the best consistency of a wrapper for this, but we'll try it and see how it goes. Let's put these in the air fryer, probably for about 8 minutes. All right, they came out nice and crispy on the outside. They were sizzling, so, and even though there were a few parts that seemed to break open, it stuck together really well. Like you can see here, it broke open, but nothing really came out. Let's cut one of these open and see what it looks like on the inside. It is hot, so before we try it, we're gonna have to let it cool off. But, ooh. You can see the steam coming out. You can see some bacon. It's not as stringy cheesy as I would have hoped for, but it'll do. We are going to try.
That's mine?
Yep. Do you want more or less bacon?
Oh.
Less.
More or less.
Okay. All right, let's give it a try.
What is it?
It's hot, hot.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot on the inside down.
It's bacon, mac and cheese, spring rolls. That bacon tastes really good. I've been craving bacon for a while. I got a big thing of bacon. I like how crispy the wrapper is. It turned out really good.
Good.
It burned behind you.
I would like more cheese in it though.
More mac and cheese. Just put all the mac and
When
cheese.
you ate, I gave him the leftover mac and cheese. When you ate the mac and
leftover?
cheese, yeah, that was cheesy, right? So it could use more cheese.
I like
Okay.
more cheese.
Next time we'll do more cheese.
I like eating it this way better than when they do like the mac and cheese bites.
I like the mac and cheese bites better.
You do?
Yeah. I say this is definitely something I will do again. The next step for the premium ice cream bars is going to be taking the ice cream out of those cupcake holders and forming them together on a flat pan and also inserting the stick at this point. And once we do that, we're gonna put it back in the freezer so that way it starts to form and hold together. We're gonna let those go in the deep freezer for about probably anywhere between 2 and 4 hours. I'm gonna check back on them after a couple hours just to see what kind of texture they have, but we want it to be really solid for when we dip it in the chocolate. We are going to try and do some Disney churros. They did release their recipe, and that's the one that I printed. So we're gonna do the recipe that they provided. We need to start by doing stuff on the stove. So we're gonna stay over here by the stove. I am going to cut this recipe in half. What we need to do is take 4 tablespoons of butter. We need a 1/2 cup of water. We need 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I'm doing a little bit more than 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. We just need to cook that over medium heat until it's brought to a boil. Now we're gonna put that to low and add in 2/3 cup of flour. And we just want to mix that vigorously until it forms a ball. We are going to remove it from the heat and let it rest for 5 to 7 minutes. While that is resting, I am going to go ahead and mix up the cinnamon sugar for the churros to be rolled in when they come out. We are going to need a 1/4 cup of sugar because I'm doing half, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. While everything is sitting and waiting, I am going to get the oil put into the pan and put that on the stove and start warming that. I'm going to get a plate with some paper towel on it for when the churros come out. And I'm also going to get a piping bag with a tip all set and ready for this to go. Now it's time to add the egg. This is the tricky part because I need to add 1/2 of 3 eggs. And for the next half, I did cut a whole egg into here. So I'm just gonna scoop some out. We need to stir this until it's combined. Now I just have to spoon the dough into a piping bag that has been fitted with a star tip. We still have some of the oil that was left from the Cinco de Mayo sopapillas. So we are just going to reheat that oil between 340 and 350 for frying. We are going to start putting some in oil. It should have probably gotten a bigger tip because this doesn't expand as much. Bigger tip would allow for a thicker churro, but probably gonna taste the same. So a 1/2 of the recipe got us this many, which is quite a bit. So, cheers. They're toasty. Tastes like a churro, right?
Without the inside filling.
Well, these are like little churro nuggety bites. I like the amount of sugar with
More
it being
sugar.
so small.
I have more sugar.
Maybe one day we'll try the filled ones. I need to find a
Now.
star that's big enough to do that. But this was definitely, I'm very happy with how these turned out. I am going to go ahead now and put the pango lumpia together. For this recipe, it calls for fresh pineapple, cream cheese, and sugar to be placed in the wrapper. You are going to just put some of the cream cheese down in the center of the wrapper. Place some of the pineapple on top and sprinkle some sugar. And then you are going to want to fold it and wrap it so that it stays closed. I feel like these would have worked better with store-bought spring roll wrappers, but we're gonna put it in and try it. We are going to set it for 400, 8 minutes. Moment of truth. They definitely don't look so great. They are crispy and hot. I'm gonna let them sit for a few minutes. Not a whole lot to actually like cut open to show. So let's go ahead and just take a bite. And the underneath is a little doughy still, but we'll try it. Tastes like lumpia though, at least. Bongo lumpia. You get the tanginess from the pineapple, and the creaminess from the cream cheese, and the sweetness from the sugar that you add. And you get each of them in different layers. And then the wonton that is crispy is so good. I think I would definitely try this again. I would want to do it with the wrappers fresh, because I feel like when the wrappers are just made, they're a little bit more pliable. Pretty good though. All right, so we are going to start the Mickey pretzels because they will eventually need to sit for an hour in order to rise. So we are going to start. We're going to combine 1.5 cups warm water, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 tablespoon sugar, and 1 packet of yeast. And then just sprinkle this on top.
Like just everywhere?
Yeah, and we let it sit for 5 minutes. Add 2 ounces, which is 1/2 stick of melted butter, 4.5 cups of flour. And we're gonna want to mix that on low speed until well combined. At this point, it wants us to remove the dough from the bowl so we can clean out the bowl and spray it with some oil. And then we're gonna return the dough to the bowl and cover it with a tea towel and let it sit in a warm place for about 50 to 55 minutes. I have placed it inside the microwave because when the light is on underneath, it stays warm in there. So that's where I'm gonna put it. And I am just going to do a timer. We're just gonna go ahead and just set it for an hour. Actually, 60 is what it should be set at. So we checked on the ice cream bars. They're ready for chocolate. So I just realized though I have the pretzels in the microwave, so I can't do the chocolate melting in the microwave, so we're gonna have to do a double boiler. So let's go over to the stove and double boiler for the melting chocolate. We're gonna turn the broiler on to high, and we're gonna let the water come to a boil. We're gonna add at least 2 cups, maybe a little bit more, just like 2.5. That should be good. And we are also going to add a little bit of coconut oil to help give it that nice glaze and to help it harden. So I'm doing about a tablespoon. One thing with the double boiler is that it does melt it at a more even pace instead of put it in the microwave. You don't have to worry about it burning as much as you would have to in the microwave. We are pretty much there with the consistency. I'm going to turn off the double boiler, but leave it sit. Talon, do you want to go grab the ice creams? Let's see how fast we can move. Okay, not very fast here. Oh, it's melting fast. Oh no, oh no, I don't know. I don't think this ice cream, it was a good option to do this with. I think it's melting way too fast.
Oh, it is.
Ooh, those look good.
Yeah, hopefully. Oh my gosh, I'm making a huge chocolate mess though. It's so hot and the ice cream is melting. Okay, it's been an hour and it feels like it's gotten heavier.
Oh.
So go ahead, you can open it up and reveal it.
It's like an unboxing video.
Yes.
Done.
It doesn't look like it got any much bigger, but it feels heavier, so we'll see. We have a pot of water with 2/3 cup baking soda and it's boiling. What we're gonna do is we're gonna roll out the pretzels and then dip them and then bake them. So the first step is to take the dough and roll it.
Roll it.
You want to slowly
eat it.
make it longer. Once you get it rolled out, start doing your shape. This is my version of Mickey, which this is supposed to be the mouth and the eyes here in the middle. So now we take our pretzel and we need to put it in for 15 seconds, one at a time. Once they are dipped in the water, then you want to take some egg wash and just brush the tops. And at this point, you can also add in any toppings that you want. If you want them sweet, you could do cinnamon sugar. Salty, just do some salt. It does say you could put sprinkles on it, however you want to decorate your pretzels. Into the oven it goes for about 10 to 12 minutes. Just pulled them out. And I'd say for an at-home version, I don't think I did a very bad job. Is it Mickey? Is that Mickey? It's hot. Yeah. Because it's gonna need some time in the fridge, I'm gonna go ahead and start the gray stuff while we're waiting on the pretzels to come out of the oven. And then when I put the gray stuff in the fridge, I'll start on the cheeseburger spring rolls. Like much of the other things, I am going to do this in half. Half of a package of vanilla pudding with 3/4 cup of milk. And we just need to whisk this together and then refrigerate for 10 minutes. Now we are going to mix in the Oreo crumbs and then fold in 4 ounces of Cool Whip and a tablespoon of chocolate pudding. It's totally the gray stuff. And then once you get it all mixed up, it goes back into the fridge. You want to keep it in the fridge for about an hour and take it out right before serving and putting it into a piping bag and then piping it into glasses. And you can decorate it with sprinkles. The second batch, I did some cinnamon sugar and it kind of caramelized on it. I probably should have added it after, but Raven also wanted one with sprinkles, so we have some sprinkled ones. So now we are going to do the cheeseburger spring rolls. We want to heat the pan on medium heat and cook the meat, and I'm going to add onion and garlic powder and salt and pepper. We have our cooked, drained, and seasoned beef. And we're going to add cheese to that. Now we are just going to put some of the meat inside the wrapper and fold it up in the air fryer and hope that it stays together. Let's put these in at 400 for 8 minutes. The open-faced one is really, really crispy. These two turned out okay, so we'll try those. Let's try cutting this open, see what we have. Ooh, there is some stringy cheese in there. So it did melt and made it, oh, that one's hot. Made it cheesy. So let's let that cool off. Not quite sure if this is gonna taste good. Not bad. It reminds me of when you take the nacho Doritos and you put the ground beef and the cheese and onions and stuff on it. That's pretty much what this is because it's nice and crispy. I think I really like that one for the crispiness. Start with this. Start with that, and then we'll try this. Peyton wants to try it, and he is.
Yeah, it's like those natural things.
Mm-hmm. I do want to try the actual, like...
Roll?
Roll, yeah. I like it open face, I think, better.
I like it rolled.
You like it rolled?
It's all self-contained.
That is
versus
true,
falling
yeah.
apart on you.
I really like the crispiness. This does have a nice crispy outside though. I would definitely do these again. Granted, I don't know what they taste like at the parks, And I think they do have like onion or pepper in them. So at least at home you can make them however you want them. I definitely will try these next time I'm at Disney though, because they taste pretty good. I have not tried a pretzel yet, so let's try a Mickey pretzel. It's kind of heavy. Even though it is thinner than what a normal soft pretzel is, it tastes just like a soft pretzel that you would get at the theme park. I like this recipe. Maybe if I had yeast that wasn't expired, maybe it would have risen more and it would have been able to be a bigger pretzel. But it's tasty, so we'll definitely eat them. Some of these turned out better than the others, but I think for a homemade attempt, it's not bad. Talon, how is it? Yeah, tastes good. Chayton, does it taste good? Daddy, does it taste good? Ice cream and chocolate, right?
Yeah.
It definitely did not turn out texture-wise.
I don't want it to.
It's ice cream and chocolate, though. The chocolate hardened really well. We have the gray stuff in a piping bag. We're just gonna pipe some in. There's the gray stuff. It's delicious. Let's try the gray stuff. It's like Oreo pudding. If you like Oreo pudding, the gray stuff is delicious. 7 Disney treats in one day. I am exhausted. It's God. But I'm going to stay up because I am determined. We started watching episode 9 last night. Rise of Skywalker. Rise of the Skywalker? Rise of the Skywalker. And Rise of Skywalker? The Rise of Skywalker. Words in places. But halfway through the movie, because it's like a 2-hour and 20-minute, 2.5-hour movie, halfway through, I looked over and he's there with his eyes closed. We turned it off so that we could finish it today. So I am determined to stay up for at least an hour to an hour and a half to finish watching this movie. We did find out who her father was, so now we know, but I need to see how this ends. Can't tell by the music in the background. We finished watching it. Yay, we finished the series. I liked it. I really liked the newest trilogy. I like how it brought in new characters but still incorporated the old, and it really finalized things quite nicely, although I'm sure they're not going to let the franchise die. I think that they are going to bring more. It's just a question of what's going to happen next. It was a really good trilogy. I want to go back and watch all of them now. So that's another day. But today was a really good day between eating Disney food and watching the Star Wars movies. But I'm exhausted, so I'm gonna head upstairs, get this one to bed, and then go to bed myself. More adventures to come soon, hopefully, because I do want to make a Dole Whip swirl still at some point. That's one thing I didn't get to do. But until then, we'll see you at the next Meyer marker.